Welcome to another Candy's World on Wheels podcast. Today we are going to be talking with Glenn Cooper, a longtime motorcycle aficionado and car racer. He's going to tell us all about himself. So, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here on Candy's World of Wheels. This is beyond an honor.
Well, thank you. It's a very big honor for me to have you here. You've had a really pretty interesting career in motorsports. A lot of people probably wouldn't guess you walking through the grocery store of all the cool things you've done and the places you've been. So why don't we start off with how your initial passion for motorsports came around?
This is an interesting story. I like telling it. In fact,
Okay.
I wrote a column about it back when I had a column in a racing car magazine called Formula Car Magazine, which really takes me back to being a kid. And I was very small, skinny, had great hand-eye coordination, but the way I don't even know if they even do this anymore, but they would take the two biggest dudes and they would be the captains, and then they would pick their team. And then after about the third, fourth time where I'm being picked last because of my size, not because of my abilities, that turned me totally against the man, really. And I just decided I'm going to make my own path. This is a long time coming, man, from way back when. And I decided that I'm going to, become proficient at whatever I can do on a bicycle until I can afford a mini bike. In the meantime, I'm going to bum rides from every kid in the neighborhood who had a mini bike because I was essentially forbidden to have one. Probably why I have like 20 of them now.
I'll show you, Mom. I'm going to get 20 of them.
Yeah, I'll show you. You thought you were going to control me. I can't be controlled.
That's right.
Yeah. So then that turned into being very proficient at riding wheelies on a Schwinn bicycle where I could just go around the block and come around uphill, downhill, whatever, which led to getting my own motorcycle. And all my buddies had mini bikes or like yard carts,
Like the Briggs and Stratton, Sears and Roebuck kind of deal. Yeah.
Ancient
Coleman.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I roll in with the CR125. Back when it was
Big
called
baller.
an Elsinore. $550. I saved my money mowing lawns, raking leaves, cleaning out garages, washing windows, babysitting.
Oh, man. Those poor children.
Yeah, I know.
Traumatized.
Basically, lock him in the room.
Yeah.
And then I saved up the money and I caught my dad in a weak moment. And he was, his words were, well, if you're so, sure of yourself and you think you can afford it, you should just go get one. So I pedaled my bicycle down to the bank and I withdrew my $550 and got a CR125 Elsinore. And, back then those things are about the size of a CRF 100 nowadays.
Yeah.
And they didn't have near the power or anything, but still it was a wicked little bike. And
Of course.
that ended up going to another motocross bike. I was in the military right out of high school. And then I got my first street bike, which I didn't even know I was going to get, a GPZ 550, the forerunner to the Ninja, which came out in 85. So this was 81. And a buddy of mine came into the, what they call a day room in the barracks is just a room with a TV really and a couple of couches. So when you're off duty, you got a place to hang. And this guy goes, Coop, you got to see these red bikes down at the Kawasaki dealer. I'm like, red? I thought Kawasaki's were green. And, then he said, no, it's a street bike. And I'm like, street bike? No, I don't think so. And then like within a week I owned it and then proceeded to ride it like a dirt bike for about the first year.
Hey,
Yeah, so it was really, I don't want to say I was forced into motorsports, but I was told I wasn't welcome in the ball sports world. And I was like, that's cool. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I'll do my own thing.
That is an interesting thing that I kind of have noticed over the years. It's not that you can't have ball sport, power sport, motorsports people, but it does seem like there is a division that you're either all in motorsports or all in ball sports. Very few people cross over with as much enthusiasm for one as the other.
And if it is a ball sport and you're a motorsports person, it's usually golf.
Is it?
Yeah, single ball sport. It's a ball sport. Yeah,
It's a ball sport.
yeah. So I was on base one day at a base in Oklahoma, and a guy's coming towards me on a bike, and I know all about bikes. I'm a mechanic after hours at a bike shop in town from like 6 p.m. to midnight. Yeah, I know, crazy. And this guy's coming towards me, and I know it's a CB750 Honda. They had just come out with a 4-valve, 4-cylinder bike. And as he's approaching me, he sticks his knee out and he leans the thing over into a corner, and I'd never seen that before. I immediately turned around and followed that dude, and hey, dude, I got some questions for you, man. What's that all about? And I knew I was moving to Atlanta real soon, and I knew about Road Atlanta, and I knew about Wira, and I knew I was going to start road racing bikes. But until that moment, I had never seen a guy hang off a bike and just pitch it into a corner. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
So I owe that dude, whoever he is, some kind of props for steering me yet again. I got steered.
You did.
Over the years.
You did.
Yeah. But never skewered. Ever.
Well, you moved to Atlanta, and I think that may mean something to you.
Actually, that's like one shop I didn't work at.
One shop you didn't work at, but it's from that era.
Yes, absolutely, that era. The Rohde family owned 4 stores at the time, and they were Honda. There were no other stores. And I worked at their warehouse first down off of Memorial Drive assembling bikes for 4 stores. One guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a system. And I've been wrenching on stuff since I was like 9 years old, so this is not a problem to crank out bikes out of the crate. And that led to a technician's job at Honda Atlanta on Northside Drive near Georgia Tech, which was dealer number 128. It was pretty early in the run. Yeah, 128, which led to, everything that was always being parlayed, whether it was I was assembling bicycles from stuff we found at the curb on large trash day. We would get all the bicycle parts we could, and we'd make bikes and sell them. We'd get mini bikes and fix them and sell them. Just everything was always parlayed so you can go to the next step. Self-sponsored, essentially, self-funded. Always had a side hustle. They didn't call it a side hustle. It was making money.
Yes.
But thankfully, all these avenues were open to me, and I took advantage of them. You got to do it. If you want to ride, you'll do whatever it takes to race, essentially, not essentially, but especially, but to ride, you'll figure out a way. If you want it bad enough, you got to have that desire, that burn, and then act on it.
Yes.
And everybody who's already into it is all too happy to talk to you and help you attain this goal, man, of the freedom.
Yeah.
Twist the throttle, crank a wheelie.
There's a lot of people who have the wants, but they don't have the desire or the drive to get it, but they just want it. And we see that a lot. We've been very fortunate to finally find a group of, let's call them under 30s, that are driven. There was a stretch there that I was really losing hope in humanity. I think a lot of other business people were too. It was like, can't show up on time, not finding people that really want to work for any kind of real, in any kind of real capacities. And I think there's been a shift in younger people. And also there is a weird phenomenon with the social media where you see all this, lifestyles of the rich and famous 24 hours a day. And I think that drives a little bit of that want without understanding the drive and the desire part.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I see some people that are doing the side hustles like constantly nonstop, but then you see other people that, I think back when they coined the term keeping up with the Joneses, it's maybe not keeping up with the Joneses anymore. It's just like keeping up with your social media people or keeping up with your friends or, it's just something that, listening to you, it just reminds me of how people will do whatever it takes to make their dreams happen. Sometimes other people just want the dream just to, poof out. And, you might find the genie in the bottle to make it happen for you. But by and large,
it's
taking the bicycles out of the trash pile. I mean, that just really reminded me of a lot of the things that I had done in the past too. And you just don't see that very much anymore, where people are just like, I'm just going to do whatever. I'm going to sell this. I'm going to sell that. I'm going to do this, And I think that is something I'd like to encourage people to revisit or start to understand, to make your dreams happen. You've got time. So many people don't sleep very much anyway. What are you doing with those 4 hours before you're going to bed? What are you doing with the hours before work? You've got a lot of time to figure out how to make stuff happen for you. But I do remember you always hustling, having stuff in the garage, doing things here and there, and being out 7 days a week, late at night, calling your buddies over for motor replacements at the last moments.
There was some of that. Yeah. You got to have a good core group of people too, man. You got to surround yourself with like-minded individuals, because if you're the only person that's, hey, I want to ride and I'm going to go online and find out about it. Yeah, there to some extent, but humans, contact, interaction is so key to the enthusiasm builds from that. And like you're talking about with social media, 24/7 screen, and the lifestyles of the rich and famous is like, oh, these people have bikes, I should get one too. Well, then you got to do a little bit of homework. Maybe not even a little bit of homework, a lot of homework. And it'll come, but it ain't going to find you. You got to find it.
Correct. For sure. So when you moved to Atlanta, you just continued to be steered into the motorsports direction, and you working your way up through the dealership. So how did you continue that, and how did you end up at the racetrack?
Back then, there was no such thing as a track day. There was going fast on the street, which, as we know, is really not, that's not a good prescription for longevity. For just the danger of it. And, we've all done it, but once you turn a wheel on the racetrack, if you're wanting to race, you're not going to go back to riding quickly up in the mountains. And that was basic training for us, essentially. And it took a big jump, a big leap off the edge of the cliff there to go get a set of leathers, which they didn't rent them back then either. You had to buy them. Yep. And show up at a racetrack. And that's what it took. And again, hanging out with people that were on that path, and they're already a year or two ahead of you. So you've gone to a racetrack, you've seen how things work, about first call, about prepping your bike beforehand. And I couldn't imagine trying to do it, blind, where I'm just going to figure it out for myself. It's like, wow, okay, that's a task. That's pretty monumental. But by hanging out, and luckily on my first night in Atlanta, I met some guys who were very accomplished and already on the street up in the mountains. We're blessed with these roads here in Georgia that are really world famous, and kind of got to the point a while back where you really don't even want to tell anybody about the good roads, because then all of a sudden, look what happened with, the tail of the dragon, man. It's like out of control. The racetrack for a sport bike is the place, man. Really, it's or a hyper sports bike, I guess you'd call it these days. Yeah, it's a wonderful feeling, the freedom and the repetition, because like every minute and 30 seconds you're back on, and it's like a loop in your brain where the familiarity and stretching breaking points and testing yourself and getting on the gas sooner. It's amazing how much, when you're in the fat part of your learning curve, holy cow, the gains are coming so quickly and so strongly that you kind of yearn for that later on when you're struggling for 0.03 of a second that you missed pole by. But yeah, it's a wonderful feeling, and coming up through the industry was a huge benefit. And when you look at the long list of people that were at the shop that we were at years ago that went on to professional careers, and it's stunning.
Yeah, did a lot of amazing stuff from that one store.
Yeah. Familiarity breeds speed, not just contempt, but speed. Hanging out with people, feeling their vibe, listening to them talk. You don't even have to ask a question, just by listening to the things that are being spoken about,
Mhm.
and then applying that is pretty cool. It's such a mental game. I'm not the world's biggest guy, but Danny Pedrosa's not either, and he's a stunning rider. That's a tiny little dude. Still don't know how he rode a 1,000cc MotoGP bike.
Yeah.
It's like, what? You're like that, a jockey-sized dude. So the mind game and the conviction and the belief in yourself and your abilities is so key.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've seen that here with, we've had a variety of people working with us. And at one point in time, we had from guys that I think maybe were like 5'2" to a guy who was like 6'6". And each one of them could load a bike like you would not believe. And we had always wanted to do a loading video with, you're 5'2". This is how you load a BMW GS in the back of a truck, that the handlebars are like over the dude's head practically.
Oh my God.
And they would amaze people. They would just truly amaze people that, they would just come and just grab a bike and, like somebody would grab a Z50, just put them up in a truck, put them on a trailer, take them off the trailers, ride them kind of half side saddle. And that is just being confident in yourself. And that's one of the things we talk about when people are trying to buy their first bike. And we want to encourage them to not listen to their friends unless their friends are telling them to buy the smaller bike, because we want them to build that confidence and have that. And, listening to the people that have the experience and that, want to make you a motorcyclist for life and, steer you in the right direction. But you can do anything if you put your mind to it, for sure. We've seen that time and time again. And in our scene here in Georgia, we are very lucky with the roads that we have. And of course, 20, 30 years ago, it was much easier to ride a little swiftly, let's say.
That's swiftly. I
Swiftly.
like that.
when we'd call it the Autobahn before it was
Alfred
all
Autobahn.
built up. And you could be from 285 to the end in, let's just call it record time.
30
time.
minutes.
I don't know who holds the record from those days, but it was probably sub 30 minutes on a good Sunday morning when the police were not hanging out on the off ramps and stuff. But things have changed.
Do that now.
Don't do that
Whatever
now.
you do.
Don't do that now. Well, it takes you 30 minutes to get from the first exit
Yeah.
to Northridge now.
It was about like getting here this morning.
Yeah.
Of course, it was
No joke.
rainy and windy and cold and accidents ahoy. So that mattered this morning. Still got here on time.
That's good. Yeah. But traffic has, stifled the ability to ride freely or freer than in the past. But some of the most amazing world champions came from Georgia and have come from Georgia. We've got quite a few world champions that live here and that you've known in the past. And I think, the roads had a lot to do with it. The way that we had so much off-road riding and fast mountain roads that gave these guys and girls those natural abilities. And that's something that a lot of people don't really consider, that they've just got that racetrack like right in their own backyard.
Yeah, I guess you could say we take it for granted having weather. And I tell people, on Christmas Day, we're usually riding in T-shirts on mini bikes or going off-road with nothing more than just a jersey and gear. They don't have to have on some kind of crazy winter coat. That's February. But having that ability, let's call it year-round.
Yeah.
Matters. When I was in Oklahoma on a street bike on that GPZ 550, I rode 24/7. I rode 365 days a year, packed down snow.
Yeah.
Probably not the brightest idea, but, I came from a dirt bike background. In Coop's world, if I were king, everybody would start on a Z50 or small 50cc size bike, Sierra 50, whatever, and then progress up before they would ever turn a wheel on the street, because they would have that ability to feel a bike that's loose
Yes.
and not be scared.
Yes.
You must be steered, not scared.
Yes.
It's a bumper sticker or a T-shirt or both. Having that knowledge, that skill set to have already stored away and access it in an emergency, because there's going to be an emergency. And now it's not an emergency. Now it's something you handled because of that ability and the skill set learned in your youth as a youth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't know when it started being standard practice for the GP riders. I mean, they probably all grew up that way too, but I know it became a real standard practice for them to be cross-training on trail riding, dirt riding, supermoto, like all kinds, even flat track, because all those things, when you're feeling the motorcycle with you and the out of control, in control, and
The ability,
all those things all come together. And the more that you can handle that in any kind of motion, going sideways, front, back, up and down, it makes you the ultimate rider.
yeah, for sure. That pushing the front and keeping it within its limit is what all that little 100cc was, XR 100s, CRF 100s, TT 125s, whatever they're using. I don't even know anymore. At like the Roberts Ranch, and then Valentino Rossi has his own ranch where I don't even know if it's all sorts of folks can drop in and train with those guys. It's not just his team, VR46 team or whatever. So there's also guest appearances. Being able to work the front is a key. I don't know that I ever really rode that hard. I'm sure I had my moments, but the way it's done now is, and I'm watching on TV, and granted, I never ran a MotoGP bike or a GP bike for that matter, but, 600 Supersport Nationals was a pretty high level for just a privateer, a guy selling bikes. That was a big ask, but I didn't want to remain in the small local Southeast pool. I wanted to put myself up against the best guys. Back when there were factory supported guys, 2 riders from each of the 4 major manufacturers. So that was 8 guys. You were not going to finish 8th or better when those guys remained upright. And then you had heavily supported local fast guys, which were tough to beat. But really, it wasn't about trying to win an AMA National or Moto American National, if you want to call it that now. It was, again, surrounding yourself with the cream of the crop, the top people, and learning from them.
Yeah.
That was like going to school at a pro national weekend, man. Whew. Heady stuff.
Yes. I think by and large, most people in any kind of hobbyist, and I guess you can call it a hobbyist profession at that point, but very, very rarely do you find somebody who doesn't want to share that. And of course, you're not going to get a top factory rider to sit down and tell you all their secrets, but I think in the casual moments, people are very willing to be talkative, and, especially on the non-professional weekends, you get a lot of good information, and people want to help other people improve, especially on the racetrack when they're all together, and it's in everybody's best interest to be making everybody a better rider, so that you're not getting taken out by people that are riding over their heads.
I have found people in the paddock after a session or a race to talk to somebody and just, introduce myself, give them a, hey, I wanted to come by and talk with you. You got 5 minutes. Oh, you always got to do that. You got 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's got 5. And then address something that may have happened, or maybe it was just not anything that they need to improve on, but just to say, hey, man, I wanted to meet you and shake your hand. That was a great save in turn 3, kind of thing. But yeah, it takes that community to improve the breed and make it safer and more enjoyable. Because, man, if somebody takes you out, especially in the cars like I'm running now, it's quite expensive. It's no longer, I need a clip on, and I think the dude 2 spots down from me has a bike like mine. He probably has a handlebar. Now it's like corners and uprights and wings and very,
massive
very
dollar
pricey.
Signs, just
huge dollar signs. I thought when I was paying $200 for a set of Michelin Radial High Sports, which was like the last out of the last $203 that I had, $200 would go towards tires. Now I got $3 left. Okay, so I could get some chips and a bologna sandwich from the concession stand for a lunch, but that's today. I don't even know what I'm going to do tomorrow.
Right.
Did you bring water? Did you guys bring a cooler? Nobody brought a cooler. Nobody brought water. Oh my God, they got a garden hose. We weren't real smart about nutrition back then.
Yeah, that's a whole nother segment that's been pulled in, the whole, kind of creating the optimized athlete in
Oh my
anything
gosh.
that you're doing.
Hydration. So critical.
Hydration, nutrition, electrolytes, sleep, exercise.
Sleep. I don't remember. I slept horribly last night, so that would maybe explain these bags if they're showing. Are they showing up on camera? No. No. Okay.
No.
Do not talk about the bags.
Okay.
They are non-existent somehow.
We'll edit those out.
Okay. Cool.
AI,
We'll handle that in post.
Sure.
Please handle it in post. Yeah. Motorcycles have really been my life, and and motorsports, and it just really segued right into the car world, where I had reached a point with the bike scene where I wasn't going to be able to run at a higher level without, you enter the sport a little late. Now all of a sudden you aged out. But in the car world, I did find sponsorship. They found me in cases where, hey, we want you to be our rep in the U.S. and run our car. Great. What do I got to do? Oh, we're going to trade you for yours and give you ours. Wow. Okay. I'm going to have to write a book about that incident. That was crazy. And on an interview I did one time, I said, you're winning a race, you're on your last lap, you're coming around, and your head, you got to stay focused on what you're doing. There is a little 5% corner of your brain that's like, wow, I'm only here because people helped me. Yeah. And they helped me because I provided results. Or I wrote a column, I was creative. I paved a way with just emulating what I saw. Before they ever had a column in Road Racing World about just a racer, I don't even remember the title of it, but it was an overview of a race weekend. It wasn't like I started the race in fourth and I passed Johnny for third in turn 3. It was about all the crazy stuff. It was about the tow up there where you were stuck in traffic and you handed the guy a coffee cup because they were pouring concrete, and he filled it for you. And now you set it up in the dash and you notice how quickly the highway concrete sets up and it's really hot. That's a true story. Or, you're going out for qualifying and all of a sudden the thing doesn't want to run and it's, third call for, 600 production. And you're like, oh my God, how am I ever going to make it? And other people are jumping in and working on your bike. Sometimes people you don't even know. The guy's dad from 2 spots down sees that you're thrashing. I kind of miss that aspect of it. I am that guy now that jumps in and helps people that are in dire need and in a hurry, because I've got this knowledge base built up, cars, bikes, bike engines, car engines, that you can make a difference and get somebody out there. It's quite rewarding. Yeah.
We're going to have to Neuralink all that knowledge out of your brain.
I know. That's coming. Probably have it next year.
Maybe.
At CVS.
We'll talk to Elon and see if we can't go ahead and make the Cooper repository of motor knowledge.
I saw a movie like this now that you're mentioning it, but I guess there's been a movie about all that stuff.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Probably some horror shows, some horror movies, actually.
Halloween's coming up. Maybe we'll just make one.
Yeah. So what can you say? Do you have a favorite memory of anything from a race to just a ride? What might really stand out? Is that favorite memory or just something you're very fond of?
Some of the coolest stuff just happens. It's unscripted. It's organic. And you go for a ride with your buddy. And my buddy Hudson, who you've known a long time, came up with a phrase a long time ago. You don't ride with friends, you ride against them. So when we're off road, we're mixing it up, and you might get a handlebar into them a little bit. And sometimes you're just flowing so good that you do like a 8-mile loop in the woods, which is like an all-day ride on the street. It's amazingly physically taxing. And you're just coming off the corner, the soil conditions just right, it's grippy, and you kind of loft in the front end coming off of corners, side by side with your buddy that you're riding against, right? Those, to me, are even more memorable than some race wins that I've had.
Yeah.
Just because of the shared experience with your lifelong bro, who I know this guy better than any of my 3 brothers, because I've spent 40 years with him. Those feelings are those little spots that you can savor and go back and revisit are fun, real fun.
Yeah. Filling the pages of the life's memoir.
Yeah, that's it.
You've done a lot of writing of different topics in motorsports magazines. How did you get into that?
You know, I was a horrible student because I just didn't care about
Those who
school.
can't do teach. Is that where you're going with
No,
this?
I'm not. But in English class, there were like little sparks. I was always good with math, but I remember one of the teachers telling me something, and this is back when they would really lay it out on the line for you, something, you're not going to amount to much, you know, you're not paying attention or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know if I got what I'm thinking in my head is I must have superpowers because I heard everything you said while I'm sketching a motocross bike on the back of my notebook or whatever. So kids, don't do that. Really pay attention, but only to the stuff that matters. The other stuff they're trying to force down your throat, don't pay attention to any of that. Fight that. How I got into writing was by reading all the motorcycle magazines, all the greats, Peter Egan, Kevin Cameron, from going way back, OG stuff, and then seeing how they could string stuff together. And I guess with me, and also I have to give credit to my dad as a Mad Men era advertising executive, where I grew up with this knowledge of advertising and copy and the creative process just through being around it as a kid and soaking it all up. Turns out I'm more like my dad than any of my three brothers, which I would have never, especially at the age where I was leaving home and things weren't going so good and I was going into the military almost right out of high school. I would never, ever have thought that that would be the case, but he was very creative and had a lot of national campaigns that were very famous, that were his. So really it started off as an email to people, and it was a race report. It was called the Coop Chronicles. And that just kind of fit together, CCs, right? And then before you knew it, that thing blew up, and I was at a race up in Canada, and the guy that brought my car up there for me, because you would just fly to these far events and get a rental car, and now all your stuff's at the track. The guy he had helping him locally at the track that weekend knew this guy who started Formula Car Magazine, and he goes, "Hey, man, I've been reading your Coop Chronicles. Do you want to meet Rob from Formula Car Magazine?" Well, yeah, where is he? Oh, he's, doing a thing over here, but I'll get him over here later. So later he drags him over. And he had seen these emails because they had kind of had a life of their own. Once I sent them out to like 25 people, they shared it. And then he goes, "Do you want to do a column?" Well, I need content. I'm like, "Yeah, cool. It pays a dime a word." All right, well, 2,000 words, 4,000 words. What do you want? He goes, "Man, just do it, and I'll edit it down as necessary." And which he hardly ever touched it. It was pretty crazy. And then that begat the guy who was the head of Hachette Filipacci Publishing that did all the motorcycle magazines and all of the car magazines like Road and Track, Car and Driver, Cycle World, Cycle. I think they were all under that umbrella. And I get an email from a buddy of mine who worked at one of the magazines at the time, who was an editor. And he goes, "Hey, man, you didn't get the Laguna Seca Coop Chronicles out, and the guys up at Road and Track are jonesing for it." And I was like, "Oh, my God, this is just insane." And it happened because I took initiative, and I just, I got this skill set, man, that's just like burning up. And it ended up being something. And last year I ran the Star Mazda Pro Series. I got the President's Award, which was huge. Somebody that best promotes the series, exemplifies the spirit of kind of thing. The next year, Brian Herta, IndyCar driver, won it because his son, Colton Herta, who is now going to Formula One, at the time was in that series, and they had a team that he was driving for as a young, very young 14-year-old, I think at the time. So yeah, it's people notice that sort of thing and they love it.
Yeah, that was also in the early stages of the internet, and the email was the way to communicate with your friends. And we'd get those chain emails of jokes and information and articles. And
You got those?
I have actually.
Okay, I never heard from you.
I bet I still have them.
I don't erase emails. I have 250,000 emails on my, it's like 254,000.
Our IT guy would be having a heart attack right now. Our server has 5%. Yeah.
They must have had to build a whole new server farm just for my emails. It's like, is this
Probably.
guy ever going to erase these?
Yeah.
I may need to go back to them, man. I don't know if I don't know if they
No,
can
I bet
be
I do,
erased.
because I do still have that. I have my first email address still. So I think
Same
I
here.
have a file with your name on it. I'll have to dig around.
AOL.
Yep.
I'm not changing it.
There is something to be said for having your very first email. And
It's a riot.
yeah, it is.
People get a
And
kick out of it. They go,
people
really?
are like,
And I'm like,
I
really?
have people will comment and they're like, I can't believe you have that email address. And it also definitely tells your age.
Right. I'm just stubborn like that.
Yeah.
I don't see any, if I don't see a real purpose to change something, I'm not changing it.
Somebody told me recently that they were still paying for it.
Oh my God. Wow. I guess
Yeah.
if you never took them up on it or took them to task,
Right.
it's like, hey man, I hear you're not charging anymore. And they're like, oh, you must, yeah, of course we're not charging. What? You never got the email? And it's like,
Yeah, I think
no.
$4.99 a month for 30 years. Or
Oh
however long
my
it's
God.
been.
That's a riot. Still paying.
But the one person that's, still keeping it alive.
It's like that last Blockbuster in Butte, Montana, you know, or wherever it is.
Yeah.
One of them states up
Hang
there.
in there. Hang in there. It's going to be really funny when all that stuff comes back, when people are like, I want to go somewhere and actually pick up something with my hands.
Talk to a stranger,
Yeah.
get
That
cashed
too.
out,
Yeah.
cash.
Yeah. Exactly.
1, 2, what's it, 350? Hold on, I have change.
I have change.
Here's 405. Give me 55 cents back. Oh, don't do that.
Yeah, trying to push to the cashless deal is a bit annoying, especially when you go to places like the stadium where they won't take your cash. Then they send you to an ATM machine to get cash out that charges you money to take your money out that they won't take. I don't know. It's however that works.
That's a whole nother
I don't know.
episode.
Yeah.
I'd be very willing to talk to you about it.
Yeah, they won't take cash. And I guess they'll just take your debit card. I don't know. There was some reason why I didn't want to give them a card for some reason. Or maybe I was just trying to get cash for the kids. But yeah, they'll send you to the ATM that charges you. Okay.
Got to get that 3%, man.
You got to make money for money.
Here's your 97 cents back.
Yes.
But I wanted to, how come what if you're done?
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them do it.
Weird. All right. So back on you've had a very expansive career that just kind of kept blossoming and blooming and one opportunity leading to another. What do you think has been the pinnacle for you in everything that you've done? What do you feel like you have had your highlight or you're working towards your highlight?
Yeah, at my age, man, those highlights are fewer and further between. Probably the highlight was going to Australia and racing in 2016 on an invite. And I'm actually going back on another invite, same guy, different car, to Phillip Island in late February, early March, somewhere in there. I got to look at the dates. That's huge. An international type appearance at a historic Grand Prix weekend, which is the weekend before the F1 race in Albert Park or whatever they're doing it. I can't remember the name of the track right off. I'm drawing a blank.
That's
But historic Grand Prix weekend is crazy for this.
Congratulations, because that is awesome. That
Yeah.
is something that a lot of people would really, really want to have offered to them.
We've been trying to make this race happen since like 2019. And then the world changed, and then they
Right,
didn't
yeah.
have it, and then they had it with a restriction, and then they had it, but it was less involved. it's back up to its stature now.
Think about all those fun things we missed out on. It's like things just went by the wayside.
During the period of uncertainty, as I call it.
Yes.
I don't sweat me so much, but kids,
Yeah.
what they had to endure
Sure.
is diabolical. That's another episode.
That is.
That I would be very glad to talk about.
I'm not sure if we're going into those directions or not.
You're not ready for this one.
We're trying not to anger the Google gods so early on.
Yeah.
We got to wait till we have the following that allows us to talk about whatever. Without
But hey, when you had to
persecution.
stay home for weeks, what'd you do? You rode and you made a backyard racetrack
Yeah.
for minis.
Yeah.
And you had all these laughs and yucks with your best buds.
Yeah, for
There's an
sure.
upside.
If that had happened way back when kids loved to be outside and all that. But I think a lot of them just sequestered, and that wasn't good.
It
But
is my goal to get kids back outside.
yes, ours too, for sure. That is something we're working really hard on, is getting that, because so many people that we've talked to, so many studies that have been done. How do lifelong motorcyclists become lifelong motorcyclists? Because they started off when they were a kid on a bike. The majority of them. Again, not too many people wake up at 40 years old or whatever and say, I've never ridden a motorcycle. I think that's what I'm going to do today. We like to see those too, but primarily the staying power of the lifelong motorcyclist comes from childhood.
Absolutely, man.
So
if you
it
don't
is
have
super
that
important.
kernel
Mhm.
to grow from,
Yeah.
seed, man, it'd be very difficult to step on up later in life.
Mhm.
Man, my hat's off to anybody that wants to do that and they'll go take a rider course. If in Coop's world, they'd ride a dirt bike for a little while too to get a hang of that, but the rider course is mega.
Yes,
and
it
have
is.
that
It is,
when I
yeah.
started riding. It was like, hey man, you coming off a motocross bike, here's your first street bike. Cool, I know how to put it in gear and ease the clutch out and gas it up and all that. But if you didn't have that knowledge, now it becomes a thing. So training.
Yeah.
Essential.
I like to back it up even before that. And when people come in and they're asking about, this is my first motorcycle, sometimes I'll just go, have you ridden a bicycle? Have you driven a stick shift? Because
Combine those two.
Combine those two. If you haven't done those two, here's the MSF course. Go there first. Come back and see us later.
I couldn't imagine not having ridden a bicycle, but I guess there's people out there.
Yeah,
That
it's
haven't.
the same situation as the bike, the motorcycles. There's no space. There's less and less and less space. If you look at if you could pull up Google Maps and do a time lapse of Atlanta when I first moved here in '85, it was all green everywhere. It's now not green, and the subdivisions are so tight. There's none of those bigger backyards. That's a lot of them all with HOAs have to be fenced. So, like my brothers, the subdivision that we lived in, everybody was on it wasn't a huge piece of property, but then the backyards all lined up, and most of the kids would use that whole space in the middle, and there was dirt bikes running around in the blocks, and neighbors would complain a little bit sometimes, but by and large, there was just more space because it wasn't all fenced off, and the houses were not exactly, nut to butt.
Farting distance.
Right. And that,
I heard you.
Yeah. And you just you expand that out to kids don't have a big driveway to ride a bicycle in. They don't have, maybe the streets are very narrow too in some of these. And, if you're letting your kid ride on the sidewalk with a bicycle, it's just still different. It just seems like everything is so congested, and having kids having space outside to do things just seems like it's just disappearing.
Yeah, valid for sure. Got to keep searching for ways around it and coming up with viable alternatives.
Yeah, I'd heard that somebody was trying to make like an in-town, probably like an electric bike park. Don't know if that was going anywhere, but I would encourage anybody that has any aspirations to help young kids, teenagers, get outside, get off video games. If you've got the wherewithal to do something like that, and we can get insurance companies to agree, because that's another obstacle. You want to do all these fun things, but then you have liability keeps so many people from doing things nowadays, especially when you can go from here at WOW to Barrett Parkway, which is 2 miles, maybe something like that. And we've counted them, 10 attorney billboards from here to there. That's just right here. That's not throughout metro area, Atlanta, the metro area. So people have all kinds of great intentions. They want to do great things for people. And then because people want to, they've been kind of pushed into the direction that if you hurt yourself on something that you're willingly doing, you should have a payday for it.
Yeah.
And it makes people very afraid to want to do fun things for the community. There's an area right over here that I see all the time that it used to have a church on it, and that something happened to the church and they tore it down, and now it's just a big parking lot. And it would be a great place for a skate park. I see all these kids around here trying to do stuff, and I like the fact that they're out of their house, but it's really difficult for me as a mother watching them ride their Surons down Cobb Parkway. Gives me a freak, because they don't have a helmet on. They don't have elbow guard. I mean, they don't have anything. I'm like, if you're going to do that, at least put some stuff on.
Some basic gear.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. So, that I'm glad they're outside. I'm glad they're riding something, but dang, because now the ER doctors are seeing more of these electric bicycle crashes.
They're hauling butt, man. They're doing like 40.
Yeah, they are.
Could you imagine?
When we have people down here on the parts floor and they're just trying on a helmet or gloves or whatever, and we're talking to them about how important wearing protective gear is. And one of the things that I would say to people sometimes is, if you were to trip and fall right here, right now, and land on your hand, you can already kind of imagine the impact that has and that feeling.
At 0 miles an hour.
At 0 miles an hour. Just you falling from your height to the floor. Now you just, extrapolate that out over 5 miles an hour, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, asphalt, gravel, whatever. And these, again, I like to see the kids out on the skateboards, on the bicycles, on the e-bikes, because they're out and they're doing something and they're getting their energy out and they're learning and they're growing and they're, getting balance and taking those risks that might propel them into, doing not riskier things, but riskier like motorcycles, because it's got some inherent risk to it. But seeing them without gear on, is awful. It's terrible. It should, I'm all for freedoms of this and that, but we got to protect children's brains and bodies, and if you like it, you got to cover it up. And that, always leads to that kind of domino effect of, well, those things are so dangerous. Well,
the default.
If you do generally what you should do, and that's protect yourself, then they can be a lot less dangerous. But I do like to see the fact that something has gotten kids back interested to riding. And if it has to be the e-bikes that leads them into our industry, then that's great. We just want them to make it there. So I think getting people somewhere close by to experience motorcycling of any sort is super important. So if any of the manufacturers would like to think about doing e-parks in cities, that I think is something that should be considered. And I think it has to be kind of a group effort, because a private individual is not going to do it, on their own. And I don't know if maybe combining forces with legal teams would help, kind of work it all out.
All of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The manufacturer support is, that's a brilliant idea right there.
Yeah. Well, feel free, take it. Just, remember me when you become profitable.
But not until then.
Not until then. Not until then. You can have the idea. I'm fine with giving the ideas away.
I have a lifetime of being the idea guy.
I am an idea
They
person
come to me
too,
like
yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
I tell people, I go, I'm not the facilitator guy.
Yeah.
I'm the idea guy. They're mostly brilliant.
Yeah.
Now it takes this team or whatever to act on it, but you'll never hear better ideas than coming out of this space here.
Yeah. I've got books with ideas.
Yeah.
Books. And maybe one day I'll get through all of them.
Usually on my ideas, about three years later, I'll see it being advertised. And it's like, that person may have had it at the exact moment I had it, but they acted on it.
Yes.
And I was already on to the next thing. Squirrel.
Yes.
Another
Well,
squirrel.
Some of the stuff I was researching, and it kind of started when I was reading some books on Nikola Tesla. And he was talking about how these ideas would just come to him. You know, I mean, everybody's like, you know, oh, I woke up at 2 a.m. with this idea, or I was in the shower and I got this idea. Well, in his mind, he felt that the idea was given to him, but other people got it too.
Huh.
Other people around the world got these same ideas magically, however the idea energy gets out there. And he really felt that it was something that when you got that idea, it was a race to pull it into existence first, because he knew that somebody else got the same idea. Just
All
like you
right.
said.
All right.
So-
you know, I've read a book or two about him. I never caught that part, or if I read it, I don't remember it. But that's a very valid, good point.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that idea energy. And also if you have a stupendously wonderful idea that you're like, man, this is the $1 billion idea, you don't tell anyone.
No.
You don't tell anyone, because the likelihood that you truly are the first person with that thought might not be. So
We call that Anna invented this term. She goes, "That's your island." Like I'm going to buy an island, right?
Right,
You know,
yeah.
I don't even know if you could do that anymore. But
I bet you I know one for sale. It's
Yeah.
got some sordid history though.
yeah, it's got
You
some
might
weird
need to
looking
have
structures on it.
Yeah, it might need to have a really big smudging done there. Yeah.
Bring in all the experts.
Yeah.
Smudge away.
Smudge away. There are some islands for sale. Yeah, there still are.
I don't know that I'd want an island, but I would, a large expanse of land, a large tracts of land have always entertained me.
Yeah, for the Coop motocross track.
And road racing facility and karting track and everything.
Yeah.
And here's how I get around the liability issue is I sell it to you for the day and it's yours.
There you go.
You own it.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
It's yours for a day.
That's gonna.
And then I buy it back from, oh God, I just gave away my idea.
Uh-oh.
Because I was going to do some car
Gotta edit
rentals,
that out.
some race car rentals that way instead of renting it. And I've rented some cars before, and I've actually damaged one pretty badly too, which was really a bummer. That's a lot of money. And the deal that you sign, like a 2-page deal, and you're initialing boxes and all, and it's all done. You don't have to do it. If you sell the race car or the concept or whatever to the person, you own it. It's yours. See you in 24.
Yeah.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
But there's
indeed.
an attorney out there somewhere who's like, oh, I could cut that thing to pieces, man.
Always. Just depends on the
Don't do
states.
it.
And yeah. Well, maybe one day personal responsibility will be a thing.
Oh, my God, that'd be great.
It would be.
Really.
It would be.
It's your own dumbass fault. Next.
Yeah. It's altogether different when it's not something you're willingly doing. Like, there are accidents that happen all the time, and there are companies and corporations that put out things that they know are not up to standards or, potentially harmful, and they still press forward with it. So in those cases, I think, there needs to be some actions. But I think when you're willingly participating in things, then that's your own.
Yeah.
That's your own personal
Yeah, for sure.
responsibility.
Yeah. The Consumer Product Safety Commission was brought about expressly for that type situation. The old bag of glass was a hit back in the 70s.
Yeah.
So the kids started cutting themselves on it. But it taught them about light refraction. It was a scientific, there was science behind it,
Yeah. All righty then. Back to your motorsports career.
Yeah, oh gosh, I haven't wrapped it up yet. I have all my cars for sale right now, and I hit a little bit of a the participation in the various classes that I've run over the years has really dwindled now to where when you're on track, you're driving fast. You're not racing. Driving fast is, I don't even want to call it great. It's fun, but it's not great. Racing is great, where you're mixing it up with people, and I've lost that over the last couple of years to where the participation levels are low enough now where you might have one other person out there that's as quick as you are, and you might, if you're lucky, have one other person to kind of dice with. So until things change or I decide to go to a different class where there is stronger participation, I'm just at the point now where it's like, I'm probably just going to sell. And I've got like 2.5 cars. I say a half car because I bought one with the intent to do a rental with it.
Mm-hmm.
Local rentals like Barber or Road Atlanta. I got my motorhome and my trailer, and it would be real easy to, get some income and then also help somebody coming into the sport, getting their feet wet and experiencing some racetrack with a very seasoned veteran behind them, guiding them. But it's reality, man. I wish it wasn't the case. And I may go into a different class where there's more Dyson going on.
Yeah.
Driving fast is not a thing that I'm interested in. That's the point I'm at right now. I don't mean that to be a sad note, but it's a fact, and it's real, and there's no escape in it.
Well, we see that things have ebbs and flows, and we reference back often to how many people used to show up to Road Atlanta for all the race weekends. Didn't matter what was going on. And I know there's a lot of people who are just watching them from home now, and we've got a high viewership worldwide on some of the two-wheel sports, but it's just not as exciting if you don't have a bunch of people spectating, it seems like. I know from your perspective, you're down on the track and it doesn't matter. It just seems like as the crowd participation is, dwindled, it seems like a lot of motorsports are dwindling in participation. And I know it's expensive. A lot of people, just can't fathom the every weekend expense. And people also take the end result for granted because, like you were talking about, all the energy and effort that it takes for everybody to get there, for the track to get set up, for all the workers to be at the track, the promotions, the ambulance people, the corner workers, all the support and all the drivers. That's a big production.
There's so
That's
much
a
behind the
very
scenes.
big production.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And there's people who have driven all night. There's people who, and I know you've experienced that, you've got mechanical stuff you're trying to work on. You're working to the very last second before you can get out there. And I think that's kind of the untold story on pretty much everything. Everything that the finished product is just so easily dismissed and taken for granted. And I made this comparison some time ago with music. Like you hear a song, you're like, you like it, you love it, you hate it, whatever. And nobody realizes, maybe not so much today because there's so many easier ways of making music, but when music was just made by people, you think about how many people went into making one song is absolutely amazing. And you just kind of put that out into everything that you see the end result, manufacturing something, how many people did it take to make this one thing? How many people did it take to do something? And part of the motorsports experience, I think it's not just the race day. It's everything leading up to it, because you have your friends helping. You have that pressure of, oh my God, I got to get there. I've got to, there's a lot that goes into it that feeds that desire and drive. And I don't know if, if people could experience that more, and that whole start to finish, and really be pulled into what it takes to put on an event like that, I think it would be very interesting for people to have kind of a behind the scenes. And, Elon has said, manufacturing cars isn't, like nobody knows what it takes to put a car together. They ooh and ah over the finished product and everything. And, there needs to be a story made about what it takes to get there, because that's all the boring stuff, all that preparation and manufacturing, or preparation and driving and doing to create this thing, whatever it is, entertainment, race, whatever. And there's a lot of aspects that people can get involved with that would help.
Yeah, it keys off involvement.
Yeah.
And that's probably where I see the biggest hurdle, is that there's so many things now, and this has been the case for many years already, where there's been so many things, but back in the big kahuna days at Road Atlanta, it was already things pulling people away. Higher costs has certainly entered the chat. So maybe we can have these successes on a smaller level where it might not be 100,000 people, but it might be 30,000 people. That's still a lot of people to attend an event. And at that point, I think this doesn't even need to be said, but motorcycle people are outgoing. There's probably one person I've met over all these years who was very extroverted and they rode their bike and they ride themselves, and it doesn't happen. You're out there to meet people. You don't have a problem talking to people, and to get that community, that brotherhood, sisterhood, humankind thing going where there's an exchange of ideas and there's discussion about trips that are being planned and getting people excited. I don't know that we set the pace for having events back when we were together at a shop, but that is so key. The open house coming up, the riding events, the having a reason to be there, to go out and ride, to hang with your buddies, to bring other buddies who haven't been to them yet. Come on, we're going to this thing. Man, that's the building. And it seemed like it happened by itself in the past. And now it's not now, but for many years now, it's got to be watered and tended and cultivated.
Don't we know? We know? We definitely have to make extra efforts to get people to show up. We really do. It's not like it used to be where you would just kind of throw it out there and just people would just show up and show up and show up. It's amazing how much effort we put into advertising for our events and knowing what we know from the past, and then the showings that we have now. It's still very good. It's still awesome. And we still want to always give people a reason to use the product that they're buying from us. And that's something I think other dealers, they know, and some do really, really good with events and some don't really put the emphasis on it like they should. But you don't want to sell somebody a product and then not give them a reason to use it. And it doesn't really cost us much. We give everybody, dinner for staying late on a Thursday night for our third Thursdays. On Saturdays, it's within our opening hours. So it really doesn't, it doesn't cost us much except a little bit of advertising, maybe some food prizes. And it gives people somewhere to go. And
did you say free dinner?
For the employees.
Okay, I'm available part-time.
All right, for the employees.
Only on Mondays.
Okay, only on Mondays.
From 10 to
All right.
11.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Wait, that's my hours today.
Yes,
Monday,
it is.
10 to
It
11.
is. Well, I wanted to show you this. I've been doing some cleaning out of all of the historical stuff. Look at that.
Yeah. Is there any of my handwriting in that book?
That might be your handwriting. I don't know. But part of having our set here is to be able to show all the things that we've collected over the years and people have donated to us, and just to kind of keep the history alive of everything that makes us who we are in this sport. And taking trips down memory lane and looking at things that this stood at our service counter for years, and there's lots of valuable information in this little book, and just kind of how we used to do things. And
that was a great resource.
Yes.
For when the guy who came in and said, I need a spark plug for my 3-wheeler.
Yes.
And then you say, what do you have? And he goes, well, it's a Honda.
It's a red one.
It's a red Honda 3-wheeler. And then it's like, okay, well, what size is it? I don't know. Okay. Can you point to, if I showed you a picture of it, could you point to it and would you know that's the one? Yes. Okay, great. So you break out the book and gosh.
Before the internet, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I realize that not everybody's a nerd and they know the year model by the letter and the proper spacing. Well, there's a space between CR500 and R.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
How did you know?
Well, I think on the four-wheelers too, they got beat up so fast that there was like, I don't know, what is that?
It used to be red and then Clem painted it camo.
Yeah.
Is it camo? Is that what you're calling that?
Georgia
it looks
red,
like it's just
Georgia
green
red clay
and
color is what
clay.
it is. Yeah, for sure.
It's sort of camoed.
It is.
When you look at it up against the woods. Yeah. Those were fun times.
Those were fun. Well, we got to wrap this one up. We do appreciate you tuning in with us. If you would, please like and subscribe. Also, on any of your streaming services. If you have the ability to leave a review for anything, that is also very helpful for all of us starting up here. We will see you again on our next podcast, so stay tuned.
Thanks for having me. It was a gas.
Well, oh yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gas it up.
yeah, we'll do that.
Do a wheelie.
We'll have you back again.
Well,
Because I think we just like barely scratched the surface of all your stuff.
I got a little itchy there at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
There's more.
Yeah, I bet there is. All right. Well, thank you.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it very much.
It was great.
It'll be fun. Yes.